I'm a poet, and there are a lot of different ways to make poetry, I've found, a lot of different reasons to make poetry. So I'd never be able to say that there's one particular method, one particular mission that poetry has, or one particular inspiration, but I've found that in the time that I've been writing, I've always been extremely edgy and uncomfortable about trying to make poems. I mean, it's quite possible for me to sit down and decide that I'm going to write a poem and have a particular theme and work at it, but I always end up with something that is okay but unsatisfying. And I really began to recognize maybe 10 years ago that the most interesting things for me were pieces of writing that I didn't know where they had come from. I didn't know what they were. I couldn't call them poetry. I couldn't call them literature. They seemed to have more energy, more sort of muscular activity on the page. And, you know, this is a very interesting way to think about writing, because it suggests that you need to really confront a kind of uncertainty or a lack of familiar procedure when you want to write. The way I've tended to do it is by working mostly in notebooks, and when it feels like I want to actually make poems, I go into the notebooks and steal all sorts of things from myself and create something where what I've never been able to quite understand in terms of contemplation is how you actually recognize the rhythms, the proportions, the sort of shapeliness that becomes art. I've held it as a mantra for a long time, one of Allen Ginsberg's aphorisms, which I think works really well for myself, which is, mind is shapely, art is shapely. And what I've tended to get from that is that you can actually trust your own impulses and your own sort of physicality and your own mental procedures to come up with something shapely, that you don't need to take outside models and conform to them in order to make art, that actually we all have these sort of spectacularly formed body, mind, soul, psyche complexes that have evolved through evolution with these perfect proportions, balances to them, and that by trusting in that, you can actually make extraordinary things, performative, visual, literary. Do we call them art? I'm not really sure. Here's an example. One of the insights I had a few years ago. I've become obsessed with a particular sort of steep mountain slope, almost a cliff face that's up in the Indian peaks here. I've spent a lot of time climbing around on it, trying to find different ways up. And I've discovered that no matter where I start and how I go, I can almost always find my way to the top of this small mountain. And at first I thought, this is sort of a miracle. It's almost as though this cliff face has been made for my particular body and my particular form of intelligence. And then I suddenly realized I was incredibly egotistic. It's actually the other way. My particular body, my particular form of intelligence has actually evolved into this world that is there, that forms it, and that in fact there's a kind of symbiotic relationship between a cliff face and a human body, that, you know, we've got these particular proportions that have been designed by the world around us. And I see this as true of sort of geological formations, plants and animals. We have, you know, sort of necessary relationship or vibrational relationship to these things. And by opening yourself to that, rather than moving from preconceived notions, to me, this is the most exciting thing you can do. How it relates to art, I really don't know, because art to me is always unknown. I think if any of us could actually figure out how you make art, how you create the most exciting and profound things, we'd have it figured out. We'd all be, you know, sort of millionaires and producing the great art on the planet. It's the unknown. So being an artist is really sort of going into the unknown and understanding how your own sort of spiritual, physiological organism interacts with others and has a shapeliness to it and a rhythm to it.